These names won't be disembarking in New York. Neither, I am afraid, are you.
Ow. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Take Your Time Gaming. I'm your Captain Wesley. We are on episode 11 of Titanic Adventure Out of Time. In the last episode, we ran through Scotland Road looking for clues. We discovered the death of Willy von Haderlitz, sadly, who died in the electric bath, probably at the hands of Colonel Zeitel. And now we are following Mr. Trask's clues as he reads us snippets of the Rubaiyat, which we have discovered in various places on the ship. So at the end of that, the game crashed and put us back at the top of this smokestack with the colonel holding a gun on us. And so now we're going to have to get back to the point where we were before all this happened, after the iceberg had struck the ship. So grab a tasty beverage and let's get started. We're back to the decision-making point where Zeitel gives us the choice to, whether we can gas him or give him a notebook or what. We know what happens if we gas him. If Vlad knocks us out and takes it. Vlad has the Rubaiyat also. I don't want Vlad to have something else, but so I think the best option here, perhaps I can get it back from him later.
Speak up.
Let's ask if we can make a deal.
How generous. But the answer's no, I am afraid.
Okay, I'm just going to straight up give him the notebook because I don't want Vlad to have too many things. Maybe I can get things from somebody later. Maybe there's another way to get it because we still have access to the lounge and the other stuff, and maybe there's another way to get it if it's not all contained by one person. I don't know, but we'll try that. We'll just give it to him and see if there's a way around it.
Thank you. These names won't be disembarking in New York. Neither, I am afraid, are you.
Ow. I've been shot and I'm still alive?
'Twas a poor shot, that. You'll live. But for how long is the question? We've struck an iceberg. The incompetents, the idiots. That was an hour ago. The captain's called women and children to the boat. It's serious. She's sinking by the bow. She's got about an hour left, maybe a little. Look, you have to find that book, the Rubaiyat, before the Titanic sinks. And the painting. You have to find it. We need to get those plans. Here's your necklace from the purse. Zeitel must have hidden the notebook. Perhaps it's in his room. Cabin C, 59. The notebook lists the names of Russian radicals. The Germans actively encourage Lenin and other revolutionaries.
Yep, that's Lenin.
You must recover that notebook. This information is vitally important to our Russian ally. I know
Yes.
you're hurt, but the Titanic's sinking. It's not going to be easy. The lifts have been shut down for good. We must get the evidence off the ship before it goes. So, up we go. Now get cracking.
Okay, so perhaps the fact that it struck the iceberg left everything in disarray. So I'm going to go to his cabin as Penny suggested. This is getting a bit ominous with all the creaking and noises. C-59? Did I write it down incorrectly?
You had wanted this? Not quick, are you? Willy's names stay on board, and not with the Russians. A pity about the Titanic. She's going to sink, you know. I have it from Andrews. The poor fellow is in a state of shock. He is giving her about another hour at best. Make yourself comfortable. The bomb on the sofa will take care of everything else. What remains will go down with the ship. With, it appears, most of our fellow passengers. I will leave the notebook with you. A little bedside reading. Now, please excuse me.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would you give me the notebook?
You think so? Excuse me, William. I have an appointment to keep. Goodbye.
Okay. Do a quick save. Call this bomb. I've got the notebook now. I still don't know why he would leave it here. Doesn't make any sense. Where is this bomb you speak of? Are you pulling my leg? Well, oh, in a briefcase. Okay. So the solenoid is probably what triggers the explosives. So the clock, let's see, it's grounded to the case, so you can't take it out. Battery goes to the clock, battery goes to the explosive, battery goes to the solenoid. Positive in, 1, 2, 3 out. So this is power from the battery. If I change it, it's currently on 1, which grounds to the case and then goes to the explosive. So if I close the case, perhaps it makes contact. Number 2 goes to the explosive directly. Number 3 goes to the solenoid, which will then make contact and go to the explosive. So I can't change any of these or else it will direct the current to the explosive. Currently, there is current not going through anything. 2 will immediately detonate the bomb, it looks like. 3 will power up the solenoid, which brings positive, or completes the circuit, and then will then blow up as well. If the clock goes off, that goes to number 3 here. If I connect it... There's a key in here. There's no... Oh, okay, I think if I open that, it detonates as well. Let's see. Interesting. Negative. So the circuit is completed back through the negative. The blue will be triggering positive, it seems like. So what? I don't even know what I can touch. It looks like the only thing I can... Oh, I can touch these. So if I turn that to 2, it'll detonate immediately. If I turn that to 2, it will detonate immediately. If I turn that to... positive, it will send... I don't think I can turn it to positive. I think you can only turn it to 2, which will power up this key, and 1 will power up, immediately explode. So 2 looks like it won't... I don't know how this is grounded, but I want to send the power to number 2, I think. Let's see. Well, it didn't blow up. Boom! Nope, that was wrong. Okay, so it gives you information here. This switch powers the solenoid, the dynamite, or the latch. When powered, the solenoid connects the 2 wires above. Solenoid gate, dynamite, or clock. This switch powers the clock gate, the dynamite, or the box lid gate. This key unlocks the cabin door. So if there's no power going to the cabin door box, I should be able to open the cabin door, right? But the problem is the bomb will still go off. If I take the key out, I think I break the circuit there somehow. Let's try again. What if I just straight up open the box? I can take the key. Okay. Boom! Okay, if I shut the thing again, it triggers the latch release. So I need to find a way to isolate all of these connections from the bomb. So let's go backwards from the explosives to each of these triggering methods. We'll start with the one on the right. So all the wires that come out of the bomb, we'll just ignore the green ones because that's just grounding the blasting cap, I think. So number 1, the latch fuse. If I switch it to number 2, that immediately triggers the explosive. So right now, if I close this, I complete the circuit when these two pieces touch. So I can't leave the briefcase or close the briefcase or it blows up. I can't switch this to number 2 because if I do, it blows up. I don't think I can bypass number 2 to get to number 3, but I can try it. We'll see. Nope. That doesn't work. Because really I should have looked at that closer. Even if I do go to number 3, I power up this solenoid, which then activates the wire here. So, can't do anything with this one because all 3 positions result in an explosion. This is the next one. If I turn this to number 2, I immediately connect to this and it explodes. If I can flip it to number 3, instead I engage a time circuit. And if I engage that time circuit, I'm guessing once the clock runs down on the time circuit, it then sends power through here. So I can move it to number 3, and then as soon as I do that, assuming I don't have to sweep it through number 2, as soon as I do that, I'll have a certain amount of time before I can react. So if I do that, number 2 here has to conduct through the key, or at least through the plate here, before it can get to this one. So I'm thinking I flip this to number 3. Then when I do that, I have a certain amount of time. Ooh, no, a better idea. Flip it to number 3, the timer starts. Flip it back to number 1. Well, I don't know. So let's see if I click this to number 3, I bet that timer starts, and then if I move that to number 2, it'll conduct eventually through here, so it's conducting to number 3. Well, let's just do it and see what happens. Okay. Timing starts. Power's going to number 3. I don't want to send power to here, because then I see, as soon as I open this, it makes contact with this post. But now there's no power going from here to the solenoid, so now I can divert power to number 3 here. That solenoid's closed, it does nothing. Oop, too late. Okay. So now I know the basic. I need to divert this to here. I have 1 full minute to complete it after that. So once I do that, I can close the solenoid, which then means the power is not going to the latch, and then to the dynamite. So then I can change this to number 2 safely. No, number 2 still goes to the explosive. There's no power going to 2 or 3 right now, so I should be able to take the key. Then can I close this? I can't close this. So this circuit is now active. So I think I've already messed it up because I can't send anything here without it blowing up. Three. That now means there's no power going to the connector. Well, I don't... Leave. Can't leave this for some reason. Goodbye, cruel world. I barely knew ye. Okay, so I need to connect. I need to get the key out after I've been able to stop the clock. It appears that, so right now I should be able to connect it to this post. So, okay. So without the key, there's no power going through this box here. I right now have power just going to this post. So as soon as I open this, it will connect and it'll blow up. If I connect it to number 1, it will blow up immediately because it goes to the blasting cap. But if I turn on number 3 now, the clock will go, but it won't be able to run because there's no positive power coming. So let's see what happens if I flip that. That goes. And then when it triggers, it's going to trigger the explosive. That doesn't do anything in a moment. So that should prevent power from going through here from the hammer through the bell. So there should be no explosion. I have defeated the clock. Okay. So now that it's not touching anymore, I should be able to switch it back to number 3. No power. No power to the key. Open that. I have to make sure I've deactivated the lid closure here. So I need to divert power to the solenoid. And if I do that, so if I divert power to number 3 here, that will activate it and nothing will happen, right? And that will remove it from this hinge here. Yes, okay, good. That should be it. That should be all we need because now there's no power flowing to the hinge switch through here. There should be no way for this to activate when I hit OK. And I've solved it. Okay, that only took several minutes. I'm gonna save. Bomb dead. Okay, now we have the notebook. I don't know where the painting is the unfortunate part. But we learned in the last one that if we go up to the lounge, yes, the ship is sinking.
Stand back! Ladies and gentlemen, maintain order. Women and children board first.
Prepare to swing out! Lifeboat away, sir!
Last lifeboat leaves at 2 a.m. It is now 1:15. We do not have very much time to get this done. We've got to get to the lounge to get Clarice's shawl.
If you've come to get me to leave, I'm not leaving Willie. I want to stay near him on the ship.
I'm sorry, but Willie has died.
We met here in the lounge the first night out. He introduced himself. Willie was so kind. Not like Mama's friends. They just want our money. I'm staying with him.
The ship is
We
sinking.
went for a walk that night on deck. There were so many stars. Just like tonight. I told him you can't see the stars in New York. The lights burn too bright. I told him to go to Central Park. I was going to take him to the park to show him the stars. Here, take this shawl. I don't need it. If you get to New York, visit the
You
park.
probably do need it.
That's where you see stars. That's where I wanted to take Willie. Goodbye.
I have the shawl. So where the heck is the painting? I have no idea where the painting is. Is it in Haderlitz's quarters? I don't remember where Haderlitz. B66. No access there. You guys are just still hanging out, even during the imminent doom of the ship. And you guys are still hanging out too. And Charles, you're still,
Going to the devil full of gin.
Oh goodness, Charles, come on. Where's Georgia?
Georgia, on deck, I suppose, with the women and children. Or Sasha. She wouldn't stay with me. Not much point to me now, is there?
Poor
Maybe there
Charles.
never was. Won't be much longer now, will it? She's sinking quickly.
Well, Charles, goodbye.
Cheers, and good luck to you.
Buick, you still content to just sit here?
Bonsoir, mon ami. Sit if you like. Talk to me. The Titanic is dying, but the games are still being played. Even here. Is that why you have come? For a game? To while away the time?
Well, what are the stakes?
My stakes? Why, mon ami, we play for souls. At least a substitute thereof. We must play for something
Morbid.
real. Something a man would die for. Regardez. A carte d'entrée. A pass to the lifeboats. With this, you have life. Looks familiar, eh? If you
It
wish,
does.
what do you wish to put down in return?
Good grief, this real diamond necklace, I
Ah,
guess.
Jewel. Such diamonds. Quite valuable. Almost as beautiful as the Lady Georgia. Bien. If you win, you receive the boat pass. If I win, I get the necklace. Let's begin.
How do I know that's even a boat pass? Oh. Really? You're going to deal me 9? 14? Come on. 15? That's even worse. 17. Or 18, I'm sorry. I have to stay at 18. 14. Of course, 21.
I win. The diamonds. They are mine now. Oui. But do not be so sad. Try your luck.
Why try my luck now? You have the diamonds.
Well, maybe I see you
Nope.
again. Before you die. Adieu.
Well, that was useless, but I'd rather Buick have them because he's not out for any political gain. He's just out for personal gain, so maybe that's not the end of the world. Oh, look at this beautiful first-class lounge. With all these strangers I've never
You are proving
met.
surprisingly hardy, so perhaps you'll honor one more request. The evening's last, it would seem. Oh, but you must.
Why should
You
I?
could save a life. The Lady Georgia.
Whose life?
I've poisoned her. If you decide against
What sort of
helping me,
poison?
she will die. But if you cooperate, the antidote for her. There goes Mr. Ismay. He's abandoning ship. Not just the women and children. The president of the line gets a seat too. So, will you help?
I think you're bluffing. Why do you just happen to have poison? And on top of that, Georgia, we know goes down with her ship anyway, so
As you
I think you're
wish.
bluffing.
But how tragic for the lovely Lady Georgia.
Maybe
I
that wasn't
wondered
the right
when you'd
decision.
rematerialize. We're in a bit of a spot, don't you think? Me?
Aren't you trying to find a boat?
Lord, no, I'm too old and too fat for small boats. Besides, after spending my corporeal career communing with the beyond, I'm not too worried about joining it now. Visit Mr. Riviera. He's playing for some very high stakes.
I did already. He cleaned me out.
Very high. But what's still
You knew about the
unknown
Titanic, didn't you?
is what you will do. Don't you see? You've changed the past. You've had that chance. What you do now will change the future. Don't fail. I'm
Will you
heading
save yourself?
somewhere far more interesting. Let those who would stay save themselves. I suggest a hand
goodbye.
of cards with Mr. Riviera. Hurry. You've changed the past. Now, change the future. Hurry. Need a psychic reading? I'll hurry. I suggest a hand of cards
Goodbye.
with Mr. Riviera.
Yeah,
Hurry.
you've said this already.
Goodbye now. It was a pleasure to make your acquaintance in this world. Perhaps we'll meet again in the next.
Perhaps.
Don't push. Keep your hands well inside the boats.
This is a great rendering. So water filling into the engine room, the Turkish bath, everything's sliding about. The ship is now only 30 minutes from sinking, or from the last lifeboat leaving. Well, what if I go up on deck? I can't. Can't go out on deck. I'm so bad at getting around on the ship still, even after all this. Let's get back to the other staircase. Maybe I can go out on the boat deck? I need to find Vlad, because he's got all the stuff that I care about.
I say, old bean. Absolute madhouse, don't you think? People running hither and thither, no organization, no
Yep.
plan of attack.
Henry doesn't think the situation calls for panic.
Lunatics, all of them, running about like rabbits with a stoat at the hole.
The lapse in social order is absolutely shocking.
Boats! Ha! If I were captain...
Such people, they're not dressed for first cabin, like those two immigrants on the second-class stairwell. Really, something should be done. The woman's quite upset. And the man with her was carrying a painting, of all things, a painting. What is the world coming to?
Oh.
Sodding for...
I can't possibly get in
hackers.
these boats.
I agree. Packing the women off in such crowded quarters.
Frightfully cramped.
Like tinned...
The Titanic is perfectly safe, isn't it?
I say, I'm in need of a gin.
Not now, Henry,
No.
not now. The officer there, he wants me in the boat.
They say the smoking room's still...
Goodness, I do believe I hear running water.
Perhaps we can play a few hands with that Frenchman.
Henry, I do think we should stay here with the boats.
Blast it all, Ribena. Pitch yourself in. I say, old bean, coming with? Suit yourself then.
No, I have to
cheerio.
finish something. I still have 30 minutes or so.
Leave. I'm getting on that boat. The child's mine. Stay away. I'm warning you.
No.
The boats
It is
are
not
full.
your
There's
child.
no more room. No more. When these boats go, that's it. We're trapped. We'll drown. I'm getting on, you understand? They'll throw out somebody else. I've got money. I'll give them thousands. I've got to get on a boat.
Stand away from the boats. It's women and children.
Yeah.
Women and children only. I'll shoot.
There you go, Morrow.
Come closer and I'll...
Oh, man.
Women and children.
Well, Conklin's
first.
gone.
Leave. I'm getting on that boat. The child's mine. Stay away. I'm warning you.
No words for your husband.
See what I said about moonless night? Number 14 and 16 are being filled. Reassure the
What can I do to
passengers.
help?
If they panic, we'll save no one.
Okay.
Step back.
Then I'm
Boats
leaving.
14 and 16 are next.
Okay, so second class.
Time's growing short.
I need to talk to
Try
everybody.
to get the evidence and save yourself. That sailor's threatened to throw me on the next boat. But I can hold my own a little longer.
Perhaps you should take the evidence.
Time's
No,
running
not yet.
short.
I don't
There's
have
still a
everything yet.
chance. Yes, if it comes to that, but there must be some way to get off this ship. Try to complete your mission.
Okay, I
We
need
have
to find a
few more
lifeboat.
minutes.
Oh goodness, I don't have very many minutes at all. Oh, let me click on these people. Come on. No,
My dear,
I haven't
how
seen
could you
the
have missed them?
Asters.
They were in the gymnasium.
I suggest you
Leaving?
take the next
If you
boat.
see the Asters, do tell them Daisy wants to go in their boat. It'll be such fun. Don't forget their boat. I only travel with the best.
To the-
Goodbye.
To the very end, she's like, I want to travel with the Asters.
About 15.
This is an opportunity.
Women and children first, others follow.
You've not found a boat? It seems I shall not see
Trout.
Santi either. This is a test of faith, like the blood fluke infestations at the mission. Unspeakable things. The worms fell even the fittest. We prayed then too, after Mazan and the bearers fled into the bush. Though Emily did not escape God's plan, tonight is another test. We shall brave the deluge like Noah and his family. Does anyone know how long the great flood raged? Do you know? Exactly.
40
You
days.
are blessed with fortune. Comfort Miss Limehouse. She is in the first-class lounge.
I did comfort her, I think. So, interesting fact about the rockets, they're white, you'll notice. The international agreement for rockets had not been made at this point, so there was no differentiation between rockets that were just sent for fireworks displays and rockets that were sent for help. And they actually don't talk here a whole lot about what's going on in the wireless room and everything else. But the California, which was the closest ship to the Titanic and easily could have rescued the passengers, was because the Titanic's wireless crew were so overworked. The California at one point sent out a... Oh, goodness, I don't have much time here. The California sent out... Where is this? I'm looking for... The California sent out a message over the Titanic, which was already transmitting, and typically the largest ship gets priority over the airwaves. So the Titanic radio crew basically were like, listen man, you need to wait until we're done sending our telegrams before you send yours, because the agreed upon thing is that we come first as we're the bigger ship. So the California was like, fine, whatever, and then they went quiet for the night, and they didn't really pay attention to the incoming transmissions. They tried to signal, the radio operators were asleep, and they tried to signal the Titanic with Morse code lights on deck, which of course there's nobody here who's going to see that and respond to it. But I think I'm dead. I don't have any of this evidence. I don't know where Vlad is. So anyway, the California basically just turned off or they didn't have anybody in the radio room, so there was nobody to receive it. Even though they saw the flares, the guys were like, oh, those flares were white, they weren't red, there's no reason for us to respond, so they didn't respond at all, and that's partially the reason that so many lives were lost, despite the fact that the Californian was quite close by and could have responded. But the other thing is, the Marconi Company had a monopoly on radios, and the standard transmission for distress.
Those are orders. Last thing we need's a riot. If you go down there, I can't guarantee you'll come back. It's dangerous down there.
I'll take my chances.
Good luck.
So anyway, the standard was CQD.
And his wife, as bad as he is.
Mrs. Conkling, she's stolen my baby. I let her hold the baby so I could get my hands free. I let her and she took him. She told the steward that he was hers. He wouldn't let me follow her up. She's leaving with my baby.
Easy, Shay. Those stewards, they won't let us back up to first class. It don't take brains to see what's gonna happen to this ship. Now you listen. That German gave me this painting. He's never come back for it. Get the baby and it's yours.
Take the letter. Find her. See if she'll trade the baby for it. Please, you're our only hope.
You don't, and I'll chuck this painting into the sea. Get moving.
Okay, we are on a quick mission. We only have a few more minutes.
Last thing we need's a riot. Now get up on the boat deck.
Okay, so CQD was the Marconi Company's standard transmission for come quick distress, which was, they had just recently agreed in one of the international meetings that SOS was to be the standard distress call.
Captain's orders, stay with the others.
But oh dear, I think I failed. So anyway, the Titanic was transmitting CQD because it was a Marconi radio system, and the operators were trained to transmit CQD, not SOS. So that was another failing, that the only ship that responded to the CQD call was a German ship that was really far north and couldn't have responded anyway to the Titanic. So really, that's another thing that went wrong. Plus, they hadn't agreed on what color rockets should be if you're under distress. And so they finally standardized that as part of the sinking of the Titanic. Part of the inquiry into that, they established that red rockets would be the standard of
stay with the others.
What to shoot off in the event that you were in distress, and not to be used for anything else. So I don't see... Oh goodness.
Sorry. There's really nothing more to say.
Well, it looks like she's gone. Yeah. So I failed. So the sinking here is actually happening in real time. Like if you look at the stopwatch, it's moving, and every kind of advancement here that you see is based on the best historical knowledge about how the Titanic sank and how it progressed. And that's a bit disturbing. So I don't think she's even on the ship anymore. I think I was too slow. The last lifeboat is left. We're the only ones left.
No one's allowed on the bridge.
This is a little distressing. And they still won't let me by. What's in here? Oh, the gymnasium. That's good. I have time to get one last pump of iron in before I meet my maker. Well, I thought this was flooded, and yet here I can walk all the way down the stairs. Well, I guess Vlad got off already with all of the stuff, so these people are still hanging out. Interesting. Well, I have not done so well as a spy. My second, it seems, is no better than my first. Because I don't have... Yep. Going down with the ship. So the ship breaks apart. There was actually, when the sinking first happened, kind of conflicting reports on whether the ship broke apart or not. And in fact, this wasn't even confirmed until 1985 when they discovered the wreck of the Titanic itself. So it happened so fast that there were no witnesses there. And the Californian, like I said, could have come to rescue them, but for several reasons ignored their signals of distress. And the Carpathia actually was the ship that came to the Titanic's rescue. It was very far away and had to lean on its engines as hard as physically possible to get there in time to save some of the survivors. But if the California had responded, it would have been a lot better than what happened when the Carpathia got there. Although the Carpathia was lauded as the captain recognized the signals and gave it everything he had, plus a little bit more to get there in time, or as fast as he could. So I have died. I've gone down with the ship. I didn't save anything. I apparently have to get off the ship for the game to progress. So I'm going to open this one right before we defuse the bomb to give myself a little bit more time, because this is ticking down in real time. But before that, I'm going to stop here because I've been recording for a very long time. So we'll call this the second to last episode of Titanic Adventure Out of Time. There's still so much history and so much interesting facts to talk about that I've kind of been talking about that instead of following the action here. But tune in the next episode when we'll try to resolve this a little bit better to see if we can manage the handoff between Conklin and the hackers for the baby in the letter. I don't think that's probably going to go very well, but the idea being, if we can get the painting, then we will have the painting and the notebook, and then maybe there's a way that we can get the Rubaiyat, because Vlad's obviously got to be taking a lifeboat to get off the ship, so maybe we can encounter him and get the Rubaiyat back from him before he gets off the ship. I think if we solve the bomb puzzle more quickly, instead of trying again and trying again, then we ought to be able to get out to the deck much faster. So tune in next time for the final episode of Titanic. Thank you guys so much for watching. I apologize for my scattered puzzle solving, trying to intersperse it with some of the interesting history facts, but I think next episode I'll focus more on quickly delivering the results, and then we can talk more about the history of it after the episode, or after the game concludes. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and cheers.